All right, welcome everyone to episode 8 of the AdvisorTech Book Podcast. Today I have Cam Howe with Investipal on, and I'm excited to learn more about their story and the categories that they're choosing to build in and Investipal's solution. So, welcome, Cam.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Joe.
So first thing I like to start with, which can be spicy, might be spicy, is a book you're reading, and then maybe a tech that you're trying out.
Um, I haven't had much time to read. The book that's been sitting on my nightstand for close to a year now would be The Sovereign Individual, which I think was written in like the 90s or early 2000s around the welfare state and like the predictions for the future with like digital currencies. So, very interesting book on like a historical look at what we think the future will look like. And it was quite accurate in a lot of what it had to say. Um, on the new tooling side, Opus 4.5 has been a massive game changer. So I've been spending a lot of time working with that within our like software development lifecycle.
What I probably should know what Opus is, but what is Opus?
That's Claude.
Okay.
So it's like Anthropic's models. I honestly think ChatGPT is gonna go bye bye very very soon, especially now that they're running ads in there. Anthropic's done a very good job of building two primary use cases: the financial use cases and development. Just so happens we play in both, so it's for us is like a very well suited model. And Sonnet was pretty good, but Opus with its like thinking states, its accuracies have been improved quite a lot. So it's led to a lot faster dev cycles for us in the past couple weeks.
Chat GPT is gonna go bye-bye, like, the entire company, like OpenAI, or just what do you mean there?
You have structural issues with OpenAI. I could see Elon with his lawsuit going favorably to him.
Hmm,
But then on top of that, I don't really know what they're building anymore. It just seems like they think that they're the biggest and they're commoditizing it with all this extra stuff like in-app shopping, advertising. And at least as a professional user of it, the value is very generic that I get versus like Anthropic seems to be more of that like B2B use case. So
okay.
there might be some application as like a consumer using it for like general help, but for like tailored use in your day-to-day work, Claude's like a lot more useful.
Pretty much everybody I talk to says Claude is better than Chat GPT, so that's interesting that that pretty much everybody agrees on that.
Yeah, same.
Um,
And then you get like Google coming in with their models, and they have a way better data set to go off of than OpenAI. So you don't have to be the first mover, which Google has not historically been. But if I were to place a trade, I'd be going long Google and short Microsoft right now.
Interesting, that's good to know. Yeah, no, it's, Chat GPT will become the slop content engine.
100%. Already is. Already is. Don't sue
Yeah.
me, Sam Altman.
Cool. All right. So the next question is, what's your background, and then maybe why you chose to build in this industry and category specifically.
Yeah, I have a very weird background. My education is in chemical engineering. My first real career was in the military as an infantry officer. I moved over to be a technology consultant at Deloitte. And then I got my start as a quant at one of the big banks up in Canada. So I spent several years on both the buy and the sell side, so managing quant-based ETFs, advising institutional money managers on how they should be adapting their portfolios. That served as the genesis for Investipal. A lot of my time spent in that market. I just like a side responsibility on helping a lot of the investment advisors within that bank do the same thing. So advising them on how to think about the market, how to restructure their portfolios. We took a lot of that learning to build Investipal out around 4 years ago. So I was like you could think like a data scientist. I didn't know web dev, so I thought let's launch Investipal as a side project so I could teach myself how to build a website out. I ended up working at another high growth fintech company for a few years on the leadership team, helping scale that business up.
Okay.
And then Investipal was launched originally as a retail product. So this was around that like Wall Street Bets era when everyone was going DIY. I wanted to help them out. How could we take some of those institutional level tools, distill it down for a retail audience so they can be more informed on their trading habits, how to structure their portfolios for long term wealth. Just by a matter of chance, we just started to get more adoption from investment advisors. We decided to spend some time with those early adopters to figure out where the other pains lived in their business, and
Sure.
probably not an acute problem for anyone listening to this, but an advisor's chief responsibility is relationship management, and you guys all want to grow your AUM. Um, that was the primary problem that we started to adapt ourselves around. So we had at that point in time a core portfolio engine to help you do like rebalancing, help you research investments. But on top of that, we built out a client onboarding flow. You could bucket it into different categories depending on what list you're looking at. But on our end, we're looking at that investment management vertical. So that would include getting your client profile into a system, scoring risk, evaluating current investments, proposaling, tax transitioning, all the way through to the actual account opening paperwork.
Okay. That's cool. So it's interesting. I did an email yesterday about the organic growth engine for financial advisors. It sounds like potentially you guys could help with organic growth as well.
Yeah, we're not like doing lead gen at all,
Right.
like you might with like any of those like listicle type services. What we would help though with on, let's say you are doing organic marketing, is our RTQ can be embedded on your website as an iframe, and that can allow people to get a sense on their risk exposures, a sense on their risk tolerance, so they're getting some value back from the advisor before they ever chat with them, and the advisor gets all that information on their end to see if it's worthy of a follow up. Was this like a $5,000 AUM lead, or is this a
Sure.
$5 million lead? And I can, since I have their contact details through Investpal, I can now go follow up and chase them for a meeting.
Okay. So it's more like capturing website visitor information. So you do have to have the traffic basically that to push to the website.
Correct. Yeah. If you're getting zero website visitors, we will not, that denominator is going to still be zero.
Yeah.
If you're getting, let's say, 1,000 in your numerator, i.e., your conversions are low, that's where we could help improve it, where you're giving some free tooling for those prospects who want to actually gain some trust and book a call with you versus just putting like a book a meeting link as your call to action.
So for early adopters that maybe are having success with the using an RTQ lead magnet on the website, what typically are they doing to drive traffic to their website? Is it like YouTube channel? Is it blogging? Like,
Yeah, one of our first adopters of that, um, he actually had so much success he shut down his RA business to double down on the organic marketing side. But he was like a
oh, interesting.
TikTok influencer,
Yeah.
so he was posting a ton of content on TikTok and Instagram, and he needed a way to funnel that traffic into his actual business. Um, he had several 100,000 followers. I don't think you need that many.
Right.
But you could think like I have like an email blast that goes out. I might be filming some stuff on YouTube, but I have like a contact database that I'm marketing towards. And you could think, instead of that call to action within the email being, again, book some time with me, it could say, we think the market is going to have a downturn, or we're seeing like a very risk on and risk off environment. Are you properly aligned? And you can embed that link within the email to have your client, those prospective clients, go complete it and gain some of that trust.
Yeah. No, I gave him grief because he said he was like the number one followed CFP online a while back, and I was like, really? Can you prove that? And then I started looking into his follower accounts, and I realized most of them were on TikTok, which is interesting. feel like he should do a deal with the CFP board to like drive their marketing campaign to college students.
That would, I think, be a very good
Yeah,
option. Yeah.
the CFP board advertising on TikTok. That's good. Um, cool. Do you want to move ahead with a demo and then talk about integrations, pricing, roadmap, etc.?
Yeah, let's do it. Let me share my screen. You can see this okay?
Yep.
Okay. I'll kick off with that RTQ piece, just as that's usually the starting place where Investipal is assisting an advisor. So just to level set here, this is our main landing website, and you can see on here we've embedded our RTQ. Um, this can get filled out a few different ways. You can send an email link to your clients. You can fill it out on behalf of them, or you can go through that embedded experience. So the way that we approach risk, Joe, is we look at three different categories. The first question set you'd see here is all focused on risk capacity. So it'll be questions around age, how long have you been investing, your net worth, how much money do you have left over at the end of the month. Then we get more into the behavioral side. So we'll ask them questions around, do they follow trends? Do they want to stick to a plan? How often are they monitoring their investments? What would they do in these situations? We do also try to bleed this with some of the financial planning elements. So, like, what are your income requirements expected on your investments? Just to take a pause on this one specifically, the classical risk profiling is always looking at the client, but it's not looking also at the portfolio need. So that's what
Mm,
these questions are meant to help address, which is all
yep.
focused on, if you're expecting and relying a lot on distributions on that portfolio, we're naturally going to put you in more defensive positions to guarantee that income versus putting you in like a growth tilt. So this is helping assess a different flavor than just the explicit client profile. The final piece here, which I'll spend some time on as well, is clients or the advisor can upload brokerage statements. So we also score on what the client is currently invested in. This piece in particular has been a massive time saver for our clients. You could think in your typical sales journey with a prospect, you're going to ask for their account statements. I'm then going to have to go input all that information in manually into a system to see what Joe is currently invested in relative to what I'm recommending for him. On our end, you can go upload that PDF, upload a scan document, an image. We'll go extract all the security information off of that. And we have several different validations in place to ensure we're pulling the right securities in. So that'll be, ticker searches, name searches. We do a lot of proxying as well. So if there's any like SMAs or CITs that client might be invested in, we can proxy that in a very closely related mutual fund.
Cool.
We'll also grab transactional data as well. So you can mark that as a mental footnote because I'll come back to that later. But you're not just capturing just the holdings. We will also fetch transactional data, which can support in a future step on tax transition planning.
Okay.
This is multi-account level as well. So if that PDF has multiple different accounts within the statement, you'd end up seeing multiple different portfolios created on our system. And then that will allow the advisor to do household level analysis or individual account level analysis. So client can go submit this over to their advisor. What the advisor would end up seeing, so if I move into the next tab here, is a look at their entire pipeline. We sync with the three major CRMs right now. So that'd be Wealthbox,
I think you might have
Redtail.
to share a different screen. I
Oh,
still see the there we go. I see it.
there we go. Okay. So yeah, we sync with Redtail, Wealthbox, and Salesforce. We also have webhooks available as well. So if there's not one that we natively support, that can operate through like a Zapier. But essentially, any client information inputted into our system, we will go and update those CRM records in your system. So there's a common source of truth. But through here, I can look at some high level statistics on like what's the average risk capacity of my clients. how many leads, what's my total net worth, what's the total income level. And then with this, I can now go and click into a client record. So if I go and click, let's say, into this guy, I think I might already have it open. Okay. Okay, I'll just flip over into here. So what we will show you on that client record now is a quick overview of everything. So this would be, as it refreshes itself, a look at the asset location. So if there's multiple accounts, you'd end up seeing like what the exposures are across that client profile, the household level performance, and then a look at all of their individual assets they may own. From here, I can do a few different items. So all these different tabs up at the top let me see some more granular information, like client level household analysis. I could see the output from their risk profile. What we show back to the advisor over here is the aggregated look at their risk, and then also those three factors that make that up. The reason we don't just give you, let's say, a 78, like some other risk tolerance providers, is both a regulatory concern, but also a sales conversation starter, where I could say, Joe, in this case, I didn't link a portfolio to this guy, but your investments are very conservative relative to your risk capacity. We're going to take those and adjust it based on the financial plan, based on your ability to take on risk, what have you. It allows for some extra data points that advisor can gear their models around or gear their sales conversations around.
Okay. It's really small on my screen, but do you have the risk capacity and risk tolerance as like two separate data points?
Yeah, it might be tough to maybe make out for you, but yeah, I don't know if you could see where my cursor is, but you could see like where the behavioral score would
Yep.
be over here, and then we have risk capacity,
Nice. Okay.
and then where their existing investments would live.
Perfect. That's sweet.
What that ends up unlocking as well is on the left-hand menu, we have a few pre-built workflows to do a proposal or to generate an IPS, along with some other tools. So what the proposal would look like is taking you through a sequential sequence to now build the paperwork out for that client. So from here under client details, I could see some high level information on them. I could add some extra info I may glean, like what is their tax profile, i.e., what country are these people located in, what state, what's their filing status, how many dependents do they have. We could take a look at fees as well. What is that current advisor charging this client? What am I expecting to be charging them? And then that will help inform some of the proposal elements I'll get to just after this.
Nice.
The one of the major additions we added in the past few months is a bridge between the financial plan and the way the investments are constructed. So that classical look when you think about risk is client is a 65. I'm going to put him in a model portfolio that is a 65. The way that a planner is thinking about this, though, is very much similar to how a pension fund would operate. If we look back at that RTQ, some of those questions we're asking is like, what is your portfolio? What is your income need from the portfolio? So, what the advisor can end up doing is importing from their financial planning software the annual estimated spend. So, this will all load in here. And then that will help inform the way that we will construct the portfolio for this specific client. So if I click into one of these guys, what we're doing behind the scenes is we're looking at all your available models and we're seeing which ones are the best suited for the specific income requirements from that portfolio, while also ensuring we're managing risk behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So in my account, I have like 200 plus models. We went and narrowed into a select subset. In this case, you could see them all here. I can go expand those if I want to see all the holdings. Um, but on the summary tab is where you could see the output. So in this case, if you were to commit everything that we just generated, it's going to put this client in a more growth tilted portfolio that is also more liquid. So One of the main benefits we also offer is the ability to model alternatives in a portfolio or insurance products. So within our system, you can load in alts, you can load in annuities. And then from that, we're now going to not just allow the client to go into like an all equity or all publicly traded basket. If you do have any alts, we'll look at their accreditation status up at the top here. We'll do some other different qualifiers to help see both from a liquidity need for that client, so like short-term, mid-term, long-term cash needs, and then also their risk profile, growth versus income, where that ideal portfolio would be. I could see what that objective is trying to do here. In this case, we're trying to put the client in a 70% growth target. We got them to 73. And then in this case, we want them to be more liquid. So it's doing that liquidity analysis within here as well. Now
And
that
you're
I have,
assigning different models for different accounts. So like if, basically for asset location purposes, like this account needs to be conservative because that's where we're drawing income from, but this account we don't need for 20 years, so it can be, you know, scaled up on risk.
yeah, that's a good question. So what we're doing right now is this is like a presentation at a household level.
Okay.
The next release we're doing for this is the asset location analysis. So that would then say these individual models from that analysis should get routed into these specific accounts.
Okay.
It'll
Yeah.
get blended together the same way you see it, but we're going to make sure it's tax aware as well.
Yeah. And that's where the tax, like, sell these positions in order to get into this model, basically.
Exactly. Yeah,
Cool.
exactly.
Yeah. No, that's super helpful.
So what that will now bleed to is the actual like storytelling piece, where on the setup tab here, I can load in that client's existing portfolio, and then I can run that against either a typical model, like if you are running that classical approach on like risk aligned models, you can load that in, or you could load the tailored one that we helped you construct. What the results will end up showing you here, the very first part is going to look at performance. So we're going to show how these two portfolios compare. In this case, you can pick the start date. So I'm going to run this back 4 years ago. I could look at this on a gross basis. I could look at this on a net of advisor fee basis. So that's where we're subbing out. If it's an advisor who's fee conscious, they could see how they stack up against that competitor. And then from here, we'll highlight historical annual returns, trailing returns, a look at asset allocation, sector exposures. We will do an income analysis as well. So this little module here will look at the effective dividend yields between the two, calculate what that actual dollar amount would be, and then also what is the historical 12 months of dividends paid and our expected 12 months of dividends to be received in the future.
Okay.
We'll highlight regional exposure. We'll do a fee analysis as well. So some of the reasons we ask for advisor costs, we ask for tax costs or tax location as well, as we can overlay all of that within here so that you can see the true effective cost of a portfolio. We'll give the advisor around 20 different risk return measures as well. So if you want to get really quantitative here, we can compare the volatilities, drawdowns, capture ratios, value at risk, and make that all available in these two tables. What we also do on the right-hand side is our AI system will go scan through everything on the comparison, and this can help alert you of any risks or opportunities based on the model you're selecting to run against this client's existing portfolio. So this is just there as a quick little level set that you could end up using if you need to go make any adjustments, because there is too much, let's say, risk sensitivity for this specific client.
Okay.
This is all historically based, right? This is me running a back test, looking at the past. You can also run a future look within the system as well. So the next tab here would be a Monte Carlo analysis, where I can define the number of scenarios I'd like to run. And then within the actual simulation, I can import a portfolio. I can use expected returns and volatility assumptions instead. or I could model an annuity product directly as well. So I can include that. I can run several different simulations here, and then I could also model different contributions and withdrawals that we're expecting on those accounts. With that, we'll return. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, it's just interesting. So like I'm thinking about financial planning softwares and then like the investment proposal softwares. I almost feel like there's two different services that advisors provide, and you're very much focused on the investments side, but there's a little bit of overlap into like the financial planning as well.
Yeah, and we've had that come up a few times. Like us putting a Monte Carlo in here is by no means trying to forecast your overall clients into the future. But we have really good investment data versus those financial planning softwares are going to do that very lightly.
Sure.
So this is meant as that investment bridge, right? Like we're here to help you take elements from your financial plan to inform the way the investments are the outcome from the plan, the implementation guide to achieve that plan. And that's really the bridge we're trying to solve here with our company on the investment piece is intertwining the financial planning elements to the way the investments are constructed and managed.
Right. No, that's cool. I think a lot of advisors start with like the deep planning or deep investment analysis tools, but just the map as a whole, I feel like, is moving towards lighter and lighter tools that are more client friendly in a way. Like we're just building exactly what the client needs to see in order to make this decision, as opposed to building out the feature sets that the advisors want that the clients will never care about.
100%. I mean, if you take a look back under even over here, right? We have a lot of different data points that a client is never it's gonna go way over their head. But this is just
Right.
meant for the advisor to see. When we actually get into the proposal sides where we can fine tune the charts we want to show, the data points we care to share, just so we're not overwhelming that client and gaining their trust in the process.
Yeah.
The final piece on the proposal flow here is the actual artifact. So on our system, the advisor can build templates out. Unlike like other firms out there where it's like pre-canned templates, this is where you can fine tune what we actually care to share with the client.
Okay.
So this will have your firm's branding, any images, and then you can load in all the chart elements that you want to share with this specific person. Just to share what that looks like, I won't spend too much time in the weeds here, but here's all the proposal elements we have available to us. So I can set that in a template. It'll automatically load in, or I could also load these as one-off cases as well. So in this case, if I scroll through here, you could see some of those data points flowing through. Um, in which case, let's say I don't care to share certain statistics with my client. That's where you can either set it at a template level to delete those metrics, or you could do it on a one-off case. And then with this as well, we have a cool feature where you can load in context and have our AI fill in the blanks for you. So if you are writing a narrative alongside this proposal, um, we can certainly help with that to say, write a summary on why the proposed portfolio is better. Right. So we just spat out that. It is all free text. Like you could think of this as a Word document. So in this case, this block of text was trained off of this table up here. You could feed it anything like asset allocation, etc. And then if there's anything you don't like, you can go and delete it. You can go and add to it. But once this is ready to go, I can now download this and socialize this with my client.
Nice.
The Where I'll switch gears now. So like just to recap, this was all that proposal workflow. So actually like building the liquidity aware models for my client, running the historical analysis and building out the artifacts. Um, the other area we help now is clients ready to go. I need to send them the paperwork, but I also need to model out a tax transition plan. So what that will end up doing this guy here. Coming back to that statement scanning piece, this is why it can be super valuable for us to get some of that data in, where we will take into consideration all the tax lots within that client statement. We'll look at your client's tax profile. So, like, what state are they located in? Effectively, what we're trying to do is calculate their effective tax rates. And then from there, you can load in their existing investments relative to the model you're looking at placing them into, and you can set an annual tax budget.
Hmm.
So what
Okay.
we will go and do is basically build out a trade file for you. So this will look at all the positions between the initial portfolio relative to what we're putting the client into. I'm showing you one where the two portfolios are essentially identical, but it'll give you all of the positions, the tax categories, and then also that trade file I can download and upload into my custodian to go and execute on, where Investipal is doing a dual optimization that manages both the tax efficiency. So, how do we migrate this client over in the most tax aware fashion as possible? But also coupling that with a risk mitigation strategy where, let's say, the client is in an 80-20 today, you're migrating him into a 70-30. We're never going to blow that client up during the transition to put them into like 100% equities.
Okay. And where is it getting the cost basis data from?
That's from the statement. So
Okay.
from the statement, we're looking at other cost bases, or we're looking at those tax lots, those trade lots, and we'll cash that against the actual portfolio.
Okay.
Um, the final piece here, if I move back into my client record, is client wants to work with me now. I need to start onboarding them. So on our end, under client details, we have a household record. This is a custom form, so you can spell. I'm not sharing the right tab again. I can spell out all the questions I need my clients to fill out. I can have them upload their driver's license. We'll extract the data back from that. I can have multiple family members on here. I can load this in from my CRM as well. So if I already have this connected into Wealthbox, let's say, I can load all that data in. We can then ask the client to go and fill out the blanks. So if there's anything I missed here, I can have them fill that in. And then I can also upload and attach any e-signatures I need them to sign off on.
Okay.
So within here, I can go to request information, and then this will send out to the client a portal for them to go through the steps I've assigned to them. Let's say, for instance, I don't need them yet to do the e-signs. I can generate a portal that's going to ask them to complete their RTQ, acknowledge any disclosures, and complete the household details section. What the client would end up receiving, I'm just going to switch tabs here. So what the client's going to end up seeing is a custom branded portal where we're going to ask them to fill out those questions. So I'm going to ask the client to complete all their household details, to go through and sign the paperwork now. So they'll have all this loaded in, and all within one platform now. I've had them do the RTQ, I've built the proposal, and I've sent them all the paperwork to actually go and open up those accounts.
Yeah, that's great. Can I'm just thinking like advisors don't like to typically send clients to multiple portals or multiple like data import tools. Um, is there a way this data could be shared with a financial planning tool potentially if you're running those like side by side?
We have, so not on the financial planning side. We are looking at building those out. Takes two to tango. So if any financial planning softwares are listening, always happy to chat with
Yeah,
them.
no, we just talked about that yesterday. E-money and Right Capital are not very good at integrating.
I will bite my tongue on that one.
Sounds good. That's what happened yesterday too.
But yeah, you could think like Precise FP, for instance. Like I already have all those workflows built in. We're not, this isn't like our moat. This isn't anything we're trying to be protected on. We just want to help the advisor with that workflow. So
Right.
we can share that information. You can use a different system and push that information that you need us to have into our systems. We're very amenable to that. Our whole goal, though, is to get you out of using 7 different platforms,
Right.
and try to consolidate that into one. So like one that we're building a partnership out with is SideDrawer. I don't know if you know those guys at all.
I have
Um,
heard about it.
they're more in Canada than they are in the US, but they have like an info request that clients can upload all their documents. They can have like custom forms in there, so they can like embed our RTQ or anything else needed. So that client's receiving, in this case, like a SideDrawer link, and
Okay.
then they can push that information into our system.
The big question, does it work? Do your proposals win clients?
Uh, Funny enough, I'm actually trying to add we're trying to add some like statistics tracking in here.
Yeah.
I know I think the past 2 months we've helped close around 15 million in new AUM
Nice.
for a couple of our clients who've mentioned it to us. Um, I'm trying to update all of our statuses so like it's completely connected into your CRM at that point, and we know for certain we've helped close those deals. But the feedback we've been getting, uh, it's certainly helping with that, right? Like we chat with different flavors of advisors. Some don't want proposals; they want to just generate an IPS. They can certainly do that with us. Like they're only focused on the planning side, but they're covering their ass with the IPS, and we'll help them craft all of that. And there's the other ones who the investment management piece is very important. And for those clients in particular, we are certainly helping because we're helping build that data backed case. And then
Right.
with that, all the tangential stuff related tax transitioning, account opening.
Why did you feel the need to put a pipeline in your tool when like most CRMs have some sort of pipeline?
It's visually appealing.
It is visually appealing. No, and to be honest, advisors don't typically use their pipelines very well in the CRMs. Um,
I don't use our pipeline very well either. That my team can attest to.
yeah,
It's nice to like track people through.
right.
I have like we have had the note like, are you guys a CRM? I'm like, no, we're not doing that at all. But we do allow you to track where they are in the funnel, just like you could tickets. Have I resolved tickets? So that like Kanban board is the like
Yeah,
official name for it.
yeah,
That's just helping with like a visual display, so I'm not looking at tables all day.
yeah. No, that is really nice. I like Slant CRM is my favorite CRM right now, and they have that Kanban lineup for their pipeline for their project like workflow tool. So it's really nice to just like drag cards between columns. Um, I still use Trello too, so Trello is like my go-to task manager when my CRM is failing me.
100%. There's I feel like we operate with like 5 different ones for like dev side, sales side, marketing side, to do check.
Yeah, cool. Um, so you mentioned a couple integrations. What any other integrations you haven't mentioned yet that are on the horizon or already developed?
Yeah. So the main CRMs we have covered off. Where we're adding support now is on the custodial side.
Okay.
So we have Interactive Brokers hooked up. We have Schwab hooked up. There's another one that one of our new customers is pushing forward, having us tied to that. A lot of advisors are moving towards. So we're hoping
Yeah.
we'll have that one soon next year.
You're not
Um,
keen to mention names, it sounds like. Doesn't start with a B. Maybe the letter before that.
maybe, maybe. Um, But with that, so that's helping in a couple different areas. First one's the client onboarding side, so like we can connect the dots on the actual account opening paperwork. The other side is the performance reporting piece.
Okay.
So I can sync, let's say, from Schwab, all of my client account data. Investipal will do daily performance reporting. We'll update holdings. What that helps unlock is not just like tracking investment accounts, but also doing like the IPS drift analysis. So like if I've established an IPS in Investipal, do I need to come in and take action? Like, do I need to rebalance this portfolio because it's too equity focused, based on like Nvidia outperforming? And then with that, client follow-ups. So like we can help with that AI system, help tailor what that like monthly or quarterly report when I sit down with my clients would end up looking like based on the actual performance data.
That's very interesting. Have you thought about getting into billing as well then, if you have all this data?
It's low. I'll say it's low hanging fruit for us to add in at this point.
Right.
Um, it wasn't originally on our radar, but some clients have been putting it on our radar.
A lot of
Um,
advisors are still using spreadsheets, like, truly. So it is, I know some of the more modern systems have, like, billing built in, which is really nice, but there's still a need, I feel like, in the industry to have billing as part of some of these other, like, systems that cover several categories.
yeah, like the thing I would say, Joe, is like we might not be like the ledger, right? Like I'm not looking at sending invoices out and
Right.
handling that, but can we allow an advisor to like quasi track all that information?
Sure.
That would be where we would likely add to, so that can assign fee schedules to clients during that proposal flow. And then also, if we're tracking the portfolios, estimate what your revenue is per client, and allowing that like next best action in terms of like, do I want to keep this client because they're wasting a lot of my time, or do I want to double down on them because they're quite lucrative for my business?
Yeah, if you have all this investment data, or expense ratio data, and then you have the pipeline and you do the proposals, it almost sounds like, you know, having some sort of AUM calculator or some kind of revenue calculator as part of the proposal, at least facing the advisor side, would make sense.
100%. Yeah, that's the feedback we've been getting.
Yeah, cool. Um, Not necessarily like mentioning your competitors, but like who do you feel like or what categories are you um, converting advisors from that are looking for a slightly different tool? Uh, yeah, I'll just stop there.
Yeah, I would say in the past 12 months, it's certainly changed from like why people reach out to us now.
Yeah,
Before it was like I'm trying to get off of like nitrogen. Like I'm like pissed off that they hiked my fees on me and I need like a
sure.
different risk tolerance questionnaire. That's like how it got started for the most part, was like all focused on the RTQ piece. Now that we have that end to end flow, what we really see is firms coming to us with challenges on fragmented tech stack. Like I am paying for 6 different providers right now. One firm that we are working with is a TAMP that was using about a dozen, 10 or 12 pieces of software to do all this. That would include RTQs, um, investment analytics, proposals, the client paperwork, the client data entry side. We've consolidated all that for them into our system.
Yeah,
That's really like where we see a lot of the challenges today, and where we've been winning a lot more business is I've made these bets and I've gone with like these like best of breed technologies that maybe were best of breed over the past several years. But now I have my entire team managing that infrastructure, and I just want to simplify things. And that's uh, that's our main value prop to firms, is like the automation aspect. So like having AI go within those workflows to assist you, but then also, since it's all built in house, we didn't go and acquire a bunch of companies and stitch this together.
right.
All those data flows are consistent.
Yeah, no, I think the debate over all in ones versus best in class will continue, but I do think I hope there's a move towards simplicity in scaling in the next few years, because I think the integration problem is real, and that's, I mean, honestly, that's my goal with the book. Is like this year's book, I had like 36 different categories, 36 different tools, and next year's book, my goal is to have like a super consolidated, like, this is the absolute best, simplest tech stack you can use to like scale fast in 2026, and that's kind of my goal.
And yeah, like our thought on it. It was funny. I was chatting with like um, a firm yesterday who asked me like, "Are you guys building an all-in-one?" And my answer to that is no. We're not trying to build an all-in-one, because like an all-in-one, classically, like you look at like an InvestNet, or an Orion or any one of those sorts, is like I have an all-in-one is like I have my CRM, I have my PMS system, I have my financial planning software, all within like that umbrella of technology. That I think is always an altruistic view, right?
Right.
Like it would be so easy as a new RA to just go and have one provider do everything for me.
Right.
But those are very, very different products to be able to manage. And you've either built them in house or you've gone through acquisition. Now you have to integrate everything. I would say we're more of the what we're trying to build towards is the all in one in the investment management vertical.
Okay.
I'm not looking at building. I'd rather partner with financial planning softwares. I'm not building. I'd rather partner with like CRMs, meeting note takers, what have you, because they excel at that work. Our goal though is on that like investment management pipeline, start to finish, we're there to automate that and connect very well to your planning softwares, to your custodians, to your CRMs.
Yeah, I think sales enablement makes sense. I mean, you've got marketing. I mean, if you divide a business into four sections: marketing, sales, operations, and finance, marketing is a beast of a problem to solve. But like, once you do get a lead, how do you take them from lead to client? And I think that probably is where you guys fit really well.
Absolutely, yeah. And then our goal, obviously, with like the new stuff, just deeper down that value chain. So workflow automations, the custodial integrations to do the account reporting.
Yeah, sweet. Do you have any customer success stories? Someone that's, well, you've already shared a few. Honestly, just people looking to simplify their tech stacks.
That one, we are seeing it more and more as well. The reason I focus a little bit more on that portfolio design piece in the proposal is like we are seeing more planners move away from that, 45 to 45 risk score to risk to portfolio score alignment
Yeah,
into this financial planning administration. Like, how do I actually structure the portfolio to ensure the cash flow from the portfolios is sufficient for my client goals? That was like one firm we just won the business of a few weeks ago. There is some like tech consolidation happening there, but that's more of this newer age thinking of like how do I bridge the financial planning elements with the investment side, and we expect that to be like a key catalyst for us next year.
sweet. Yeah. All right. Any final closing thoughts, hot takes, AI thoughts?
Um, I definitely, like I haven't filmed an episode on my podcast in a while, but the common thing that I would hear from advisors or people in the industry when I would sit down with folks was we don't see AI as a threat, but an opportunity
Yeah.
for us. W- If you reflect back 12 months ago to look at the state of like the AI world then versus like where it is today, you might not be fully leveraging it yet. But the way that we see this is truly as like your companion, right? Like I can train up a knowledge base in Investipal on all of my firm's materials, what we like to talk about, integrating with like the meeting note takers to understand client concerns, opportunities, goals. And that AI system can work a lot faster than you, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be replacing that relationship you have with your clients. What I ultimately see this assisting is that independent RIA the
Yeah.
most. I don't need to go and hire a bunch of people to support me on my growth ambitions anymore if I have these agents coming and working with me. And I didn't really focus on it too much, but like if you look at our what's on our roadmap, it really is on the like agentic side on building that companion to look forward in your business and help you triage and help you find opportunities to close business, to monitor investment risk, to monitor negos when it comes to client onboarding, and that's all the low hanging fruit you don't want to spend your time worrying about anyways. That's where like we see AI heading. I My hot take is the feedback we've been getting with like the advisors naturally is I don't think AI will replace my job. I think it will. I think it will replace your job if you're not delivering a high service standard to your clients.
Yeah.
Where, like, especially you look at that robo segment,
Sure.
robos were supposed to come and take all that from advisors, and that didn't happen. But what the AI is allowing to have happen now is the advisor doesn't have to service. They can service a lower threshold of client for a lot cheaper. So that like manual time being spent, I can now service. But I could certainly see some AI technologies coming out in the future that's replacing that robo element, which is really just doing model allocations based off of risk tolerance. It's not doing anything that's tax aware. Um, my hot take, suffice to say, is that relationship piece is going to be the key driver for the RAA business model going into the future, because the investments piece, the financial planning piece, is likely all elements that technology providers are going to be able to build out.
Yeah, no, I kind of wrote about that a bit today, but like the value of investment management has been dropping drastically, almost to the point where I almost feel like AI can actually build investment portfolios better than, or build and manage better than advisors. I still think there's an element of human accountability and, you know, emotion management around downturns and stuff.
I think that's exactly what it is, right? Like the market sells off. What are you going to do? Like crowd your AI, or are you going to pick up the phone and want to like chat with a human? And I think that's always going to be there.
Yeah. So like in financial planning and investment management, like the proposal process, the actual like entering planning data into planning software, I think all of that is just going to become so quick and easy. Um, that basically advisors are going to be more like life coaches. They're going to be
Yeah,
like, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish in life? How can we use your money to get you there? Um, and that's where I feel like honestly, you don't need to be an RAA to do life coaching. Like you, you can use some of the same tools, but I almost feel like there's a lot of humans that want to be entrepreneurs, that want to build recurring revenue businesses, kind of the whole school model in a way, Alex Hermosi followers and stuff. Um, and a lot of it, and even like Sam Evans, was built around coaching and consulting online. And I feel like potentially if the CFP board like actually wanted to recruit some people, they could just go into the schoolers community and be like, hey, do you guys want to be CFPs? um, and train 100,000 life coaches basically.
yeah, and I think it just comes down to your point, like raw sales that we've all learned the easy way or the hard way. But the art of sales is, can I establish a relationship with the
Yeah.
person on the other side? And if you can do that very well, I think you have a very protected business in the future. If you're going into client conversations and running them through spreadsheets and asking them 100 questions, you're not giving them a great first impression. You might think you're delivering a ton of value, but I feel like that value is on that human element. Because like to your point, that AI system can do all that work a heck of a lot faster and probably more accurately.
Yeah, and an interesting take from my podcast yesterday was like a lot of advisor tech is built for advisors because advisors like to see dashboards and metrics and spreadsheets and stuff, but like clients don't. Like they're honestly coming to you because they don't want to deal with any of that stuff. Um, and so the reason why like portal login rates are so low for clients is because clients don't care about that portal. And so I think that this whole new generation of like light AI powered tech tools are doing a lot better job of like actually solving the problems that clients have versus making advisors feel like they're doing things.
I agree. I back when I worked as a quant at that bank, I remember chatting with like a pretty big advisor, like over a bill, and he told me I target uh, plus zero returns every month. Right, like it wasn't like I am marrying myself to a benchmark or anything like that, and I have alpha. It's just like I don't want the client to call me, so I just have to show them that I didn't go into the red at all. It's always green every single
Interesting.
month.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with that. I don't
Right.
agree with that, but the takeaway from that is like my client is going to call me if they log in or they get an account statement that's showing red, or that
Right.
I'm not going to hit my goals, versus that peace of mind knowing I'm on target and I don't need to know 1,000 different metrics. That's there,
Right.
to your point, for like the expert, for the advisor to be able to manage and triage. But I need to distill that down to the actual relationship element on like, you are going to be okay, Joe. You can still retire in 20 years from now.
Yeah. It's not a problem anymore. The stock market just goes up. I mean, except for the past few weeks, but it just goes up, so it'll always be green.
Yeah, that might you might have just
I'm
called the
being
top.
facetious.
You just called the top right now, yeah.
No.
I'm
Cool.
kidding.
Um, Sweet. No, I think that was great. I really love these conversations. It's a lot of fun to talk to the people actually building the tech that are talking to advisors, solving real problems, and doing it in ways that are simpler, easier to use, or using AI to make the whole process just a lot easier.
Yeah, it's listen, like I am not selling to clients, I'm selling to advisors and helping
Yeah.
them out. And it's this piece is like a heck of a lot of fun for us to go and build out, right? Like we get to see the wins on time savings or like boosting AUM or whatnot. It's most of our clients are small businesses, and we're a small business. I know that your pain that you're going through, and it's fun being able to work with you to help achieve those goals. Because at the end of the day, that's what America is built on, is the SME market. And
Yep.
being able to break away from a big advisory shop and go out on your own is a scary task. You don't I don't you shouldn't lose sleep at night thinking I have to go and hire 20 people to achieve my goals, my growth ambitions.
Yeah, for sure. Great. Well, we'll end on that note then. Thanks again for coming on.
Thank you, Joe. Great conversation.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Talk to you later.
Take care.
Bye bye.